technology, so you.
Okay, second time.
It's nice to see you again.
Lovely to see. This happened to me a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Okay.
I was on a live chat like this, and we just couldn't do it because too many people were doing lives at the same time. So I think Instagram just crashed or something.
Okay.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not the same again today.
Let's hope we're gonna survive this talk without any technical problems.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. How are you? How are you, ladies? How is everything in quarantine, lockdown?
I think we are good. We are good. We have been on lockdown since the 13th of March. I think. Yeah. In the 13th of March, Denmark closed down totally. So, home office and being in the apartment, and we have like 64 square meters. So it's a it's definitely a test. We got, but
it's a test of the relationship for sure. There's sometimes I just want to kill Richard. Sometimes he'll just be breathing too loud, and I'll just be like, "Oh, stop breathing so loudly."
I just have to know: is it Richard did your hair today or what?
Do you like it?
Yeah.
No, because the thing is when you're in lockdown, you fall into this trap of just being lazy and you're not like taking care of yourself. And then today I went to the protest for the Black Lives Matter in Unity, and so I thought, let me look nice.
But I mean, you are the lucky one. At least you got like a hairdresser in your home. So I mean, how many people would be like really?
There was a situation where I tried to do his hair, and it didn't work that great. I think he's better at doing my hair than I am doing his hair.
It's all like the quarantine is all about like learning new skills. So like Richard learned how to do your hair, and what did you?
And I sort of learned how to do his, sort of.
You were also cooking or baking, didn't you?
Yes, I've like learned how to bake a little bit. So I've been asking a few friends like, hey, do you want to do some baking? And then they'll talk me through I've learned how to make focaccia bread, courtesy of my friend Laura. She is Spanish, but I think she has like Italian heritage. If you're watching, Laura, I'm really sorry if I get that wrong. But she makes amazing bread, so I've been learning that, and then I've been learning like cinnamon rolls, and we made 2 days ago, me and Laura, we made really nice like vegan cupcakes. I'm not a vegan, but I live with my brother-in-law. He's a vegan, so anytime I'm making something, I'm very considerate to make things that include him as well.
Okay. So then just let's make a deal now when we have some followers looking. Like next time you come to Denmark and I'm gonna arrange some sparring and things for you, you're gonna bake for me then, yeah?
100%.
Good.
It's now online, so I have to come good with my end of the bargain.
I mean, promises are here. It's recorded, so you have to do it.
It will be on the feed now, because you'll save it and put it on the feed, and then you'll remind me. You'll say, "Remember this part?" And I'll be like,
You just mentioned a few seconds ago that you have been at a protest. Would you tell, like, really just shortly about it a little bit, like?
Yes, so I'm sure everybody's like seen the videos that have been online about the poor man that died in Minnesota when the policeman was like kneeling on his neck. So today I think the protest is just about how London, and I'm sure how the world, like I haven't watched the news, but I'm sure other countries are marching as well. But today was just about how London stands in unity with for all the people who are protesting in the States about police brutality and how a lot of young black people are being killed by the police in America. So I think that protest was just to show that, we stand with you, like we support you, and we understand the struggles that you're going through as well. So it was quite nice, actually. It was really nice to also see like a lot of different races. So it's not just like black people, it's like a lot of white people, a lot of Asian people, a lot of like Indian people. Like it was just so many races that have come together and just support this cause, which is like so good.
Yeah, but I think it's also important that we unite in kind of situations. And I also know that you have a lot of activities, also doing sending messages out, and by just showing up, you stand for different kind of messages and support all kind of projects.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that later, I think, because I spent some time to research you. I mean, I know the thing is that I always hear about you, like Ramla, like this and this, because I think I was there when you met in 2018 at the fight,
Yeah,
and,
I asked you to take a picture of us.
And
then Bettina, she was like, I can't believe how friendly you are. And I said to her, what do you mean? Because a lot of like, you agree, yeah? Like a lot of girls in boxing are very like hard face. Like they won't say hi to you. They won't say thank you. And I think that's so sad because like, yes, you have boxing now, but like in the future, you won't have boxing anymore. You need to be a nice person. You need to make friends and like enjoy the journey along the way. So that's why I always, even if I lose to someone, I'll say, hey, thank you so much. Can we take a picture? Because when I'm like 70 years old, I'll look back on all these pictures that I had of, these people that I fought. So yeah, so that's when we met. Yeah, it was great.
And I think exactly that is what it is. It's like the person behind the gloves. Yeah, we have gloves and we have tools guard, we have helmet protection, and we go in the ring and it's about winning. But when we come out of the ring, we take off the gloves, take off the helmet and tools guard, and we're just like human beings.
Of course.
And I think that is what we have to remember. We're just people that love this sport.
Yeah, of course.
About empowering each other and inspire each other and connect.
Yeah.
But I think, and also what one of the things we would like to support with our projects within Ladies United is that creating this community for girls to connect with it, and putting spotlight on that it's more than just going in the ring and having those 3 times 3 minutes, but also you can win friends, you can win connections which could be beneficial for you later on. Maybe I know that Bettina has this sparring the whole time. If you help each other, like if you need sparring, then you connect.
Yeah, of course. Like these I can't stress enough how important these like camps that Bettina has been hosting have been for me. Like, so like I represent Somalia. It's like a really small country, and like anytime I want to go on like an international camp, say we will write to a country and they don't get back to us, so we will write to I'm not going to name and shame now because that's not about it. But like we will write to a country and they won't write back to us. Like say for example, we'll find out about an international training camp and say we want to get involved in that training camp. They never write back to me. So for me, it stops my progression. The fact that I can't go to these training camps. But like when Bettina hosts it, she always messages me. She's like, I'm thinking about doing one. Are you available this time? And then I'll be like, no, not this time. Can you do it this time? Then she'll be like, okay, I'm going to change it. And then she changes it for me. And for me, that's like, obviously something that I'll remember forever because it's like something that's making me better as a boxer. Being able to go to these camps and like train with all these different people and different styles, and I actually love coming to these camps 100%.
Cool. But I was thinking also, like we promised the viewers, the people who would like to follow us, is to share your story. I've read a lot about it. Of course, I heard a lot about it because I have a person who is always talking about you, and but I also did my own thing because and I got more and more inspired by the story, you know, the more videos and articles I was reading about, it gave me like more and more like, wow, you have something special, like a motif, like something that drives you to move forward. So I think we could maybe go back in time and then start with you.
How did you come to England and why England?
And your journey in the beginning.
So for anyone who's heard this story before, I apologize. But for anyone who hasn't, I came to the UK as a child refugee. So like back in the early 90s. I think my sister's watching, so if I get the dates wrong, I'm really sorry. Like, I was a baby when I came to the UK, so I don't remember when it was. But we left Somalia because obviously the civil war broke out, and my eldest brother, he died in the war. So, you know, my mum, she didn't want that life for the rest of her kids. So we fled. We went, you know, from Somalia to Kenya, and then from Kenya we came to the UK. Like, the UK, at the time we had like an uncle that lived here, so he, you know, he said it was like a safe place. It was one of the few countries at the time that were accepting refugees, and like, you know, they gave me a home from a young age. So you know, even though I was born in Somalia, like London, England is the only home I've ever known. So I've been here like all my life, I think.
How was it for you to grow up there?
For me, it was like really easy because I was a baby. But like, I think who had it the worst was like my two older sisters. Like, one, she was, I don't know, maybe 12 at the time. I don't know. I'm really sorry if I get your age wrong, Lynn. And one was like, she was just in the last year of high school. So she didn't speak English, and then she was just thrown straight into like the last year of high school, and so she didn't get much qualifications because she doesn't speak the language, you know. But she was an amazing artist. She, you know, she passed art with flying colors, but everything else she didn't do well in because she doesn't speak the language. So I think in the family, those two like my two elder sisters were the ones who struggled the most. But for me, like, I was still like really young, so I was able to like adapt into Western society quite quickly, you know.
Yeah, I've read that you started boxing because of bullying. You were bullied in school.
Yeah. I went to I went to an all-girls school, and you know, like, when it's mixed, schools are a bit better, I think, because, you know, girls have the distraction of boys, like they can. But when it's just girls, there's a lot of like bitchiness and fighting. So I went to like an all-girls school, and you know, I was bullied a little bit for my size and how I looked, and you know, I was different, and you know, all of that. And so I decided to take up sport. So I did a bit of like, what was it called, like track and field, you know, like, so like 800 meters and 1500 meters, and I did that. And then I also I was like going to the gym as well with my two friends, Sherelle and Danica. We went to the gym, and then we started going to classes, and then I went into like a boxercise class, and from the boxercise class I just loved boxing. And then so I just researched like boxing gyms in my area, because the boxercise class was only like one time a week, and I wanted more, like I wanted to train more. So so I found like a gym. So it was like in pardon?
Which grade was this?
Which
in
grade?
school?
So I was in I was 12 years, so it was the summer when you finish. So when you go into high school, you're like 12 years old. So the summer when you finished the first year, when you're going into the second year. So I was 12 when I started to do boxing. Yeah, it was the best summer.
So Kathleen was reading about kickboxing, and she was like, Bettina, did you know that Ramla did kickboxing? And I was like, no.
I read that. You picked up
it.
and then I was like, I had to figure that out. I'm a kickboxer. I want to know what happened there.
Yeah, no. So what happened? I was boxing, and then the gym that I went to, it closed. It closed down, and so I left it, and then we moved from. I'm describing London to you like you know London, but like we moved from one area of London to like the other side, if that makes sense. So then when I was in like this new area, I found so in the website it said boxing, kickboxing. So because it said boxing, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, let me go and try it out. But it wasn't really boxing, it was kickboxing. So I did that for a bit. And it was really fun. It's hard. It's so hard. Like the warm up, I used to think, oh, is this the session? Oh no, it's just the warm up. I was just sweating all the time. It was so hard. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. But I left because like the coach there, he was just very like inappropriate with women, if you know what I mean. So I wasn't there for long. Like I think I was there for like 2 years, maybe 3 years, and then I stopped going because I didn't feel comfortable around him anymore.
Okay, so basically it was not the sport but the person who introduced you.
No, 100%. The sport is an amazing sport. Like any sport.
How does you meet me if you wouldn't do an actual?
I mean, I don't think I'm on your level. I've seen videos that Bettina's have posted about you, and I said, "Oh my God, she's a beast." So I don't think I was like that level in kickboxing. But yeah, it was a really fun time. Like when I was at that gym, I've made some friends there that I've had like for life now.
Yeah. So I'm curious because I also like did some kickboxing training just to try what it's all about, and it probably hurts on the legs. But I managed to break my toe. Did you break any toes? Because I did, and it, sometimes Kathleen came home from a training and she was like, "Oh, I broke my toe." She says, and then she just put tape around and she go to the next training. But I having these like, what is it called? Like support for like a week because I could not walk on my leg.
Yeah, because like kickboxers, I think are just as crazy as boxers because we will have like a broken hand and then we'll be like, oh, it's okay, I'll just use the other hand or something, So yeah, we're just as we don't need both hands. We can just use the other hand. So, yeah, I think like doing these type of sports really makes you like mentally tough for sure.
Have you ever had like a fight when you knew that something broke between the rounds? Like you were in the ring and you could just feel like that's not something I.
So I didn't. Nothing broke. Touch wood. I'm just gonna touch some wood there for good luck. Nothing broke. But in a fight, I had a very like painful injury on the thumb, my right thumb. So when I was like throwing like a hook with like a right hook, it landed on the wrong part of the head guard and it was just so painful. I didn't know what to do, but I just thought, you know what, just carry on and you can look at it after. Like you've done the damage now. Don't stop. Just look at the damage later, if that makes sense. So I just continued with it. I just didn't use my hand as much. The hand that I injured, I just didn't use it as much. But I just continued.
Yeah. Why did you fall in love with boxing? What was the thing for you that
like the thing for me in boxing, because I started like such a young age, and obviously like I got into it for the reasons of like being overweight, and it was helping me like change myself, like my body and stuff like that. And like going to the gym is okay, but like you have to think for yourself. So you think, oh, okay, today I'm going to do this and that and this and that. And like back then there was no Instagram to tell you, you know, this is the workout of the day or something. So I liked that going to the gym, I had a coach to tell me, okay, we're going to do this today. And I didn't have to think about it for myself, you know? Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I didn't have to like think about what I was going to do myself. Every day was different. Yeah, I think that's at that time, that's what I liked it. But now I love boxing because of the person it shapes you to become. Like the cat, like.
So like in the beginning, did you have this? Because there's one thing is to train boxing, another thing is to enter the ring.
Yeah.
From the beginning, you had this like what is it? Fire in you.
Yeah.
To go against a person that is ready to beat you.
I didn't have. So I started boxing when I was 12. Back then, there was like women's boxing was not. There wasn't like people like you hosting camps for women to make women better and things like that. It was just you turn up to the gym, the coach will take your money. He's happy to take your money, but he doesn't want to train you, like, because, you know, women shouldn't be boxing. So I started when I was 12, but I didn't have my first sparring until I was like 17.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it was only when like I did Muay Thai, and then I had my first sparring in Muay Thai when I was like 17, 18, and that was the first time, and it was really scary. Like someone is just like, oh, you're like, oh my god, because it's the first time. Like anyone can look really good in the pads, because like that was what it was. Like I was doing pads, and the coach was like, oh wow, like. You know, how long have you been, you know, boxing? Like I couldn't kick, but I had really good hands. So he was just saying, how long have you been boxing? I said, oh, this much. And he thought like I had fights, you know. He said, how many fights did you have? I said, I haven't had any fights. And he said, oh, have you thought about competing? And I said, oh, I don't know about that. Like I was quite nervous. Oh, I don't know. So then, you know, he said, let's test it out, get in the ring. And then I got in the ring and I got my ass kicked the first time. You know, it was hard.
How was it after the fight? I'm thinking, you know, because you go in there, you got your ass kicked. What made you, you know, to come back again?
It's just, you know, I can't explain. It's pride. Everybody has pride. It's like, you know, when you get a liver shot from Dina or something, you want to go down. But out of pride, you stay up because you're like, I'm not going down, you know? Even though you want to go down, you're just like, nope, I'm not going down. So I think it was like just pride. Like I just kept coming back because I thought, oh, okay, I got my ass kicked. I'm not going to look like a sore loser. I'm not going to, you know, look like I just quit because I got my ass kicked. Let me try again. And then I got my ass kicked again. But that happened for like a really long time. And then there was just one day where everything clicked and I was kicking someone's ass and it felt good, you know, like it felt good that it was the other way around for once. So, yeah.
Cool. I also want to say like, because you mentioned Dina Torslund, she's like the world champion, WBO world champion.
Yeah, the WBO, yeah. She's got an amazing collection of belts.
So we also got the chance to get you up to spar with Dina and up to some of her important fights, and I was also a sparring partner at some point, and you get this.
Hard, yeah.
I never met any girl hitting as hard as her, and that is just like an experience you get, and pride that you know when you're going to the fight, you're never gonna meet anybody hitting that hard like her in these weight classes. So you know, like. If you meet somebody that's just hitting a bit hard and you are like, what the fuck? I was sparring Dina. I mean, she's hitting double as hard. I can easily do this.
You know, that's what Richard says to me all the time. He says, look, you're never going to be hit as hard as Dina's hit you. So just you know, just do it.
You tried it. Like, that is boxing. You tried everything. If you just gain the, like, 30 fights or whatever it is, and you're boxed international. You tried everything, and that's it. It is an experience you need to take with you every time.
Yeah, of
I
course,
think
100%.
it could be also interesting to hear your part of the story when about your mom. It's really, I think it's amazing to see that from that you had to hide, that you were boxing, she became your biggest supporter. So would you tell that story to us? It's such a nice.
Of course. So you know, so I was obviously I was born in Somalia. It's an African country, and a lot of families who like flee Africa to come to the UK are obviously fleeing violence. And you know, for me to then just go back into violence is like, how do I explain that to my mum? You know, oh mum, I want to box. I just can't explain it. So I kept it hidden from my mum. And for a really long time. And then she found out one day, because my brother, he was watching the TV. So there was this new channel that was started to be broadcast on TV, and they decided to like showcase female boxing. There was like an all-female show in London they decided to showcase. And like I asked them, I said, please, can you not put my fight, you know, on TV? And they still did. Anyways. No, I think why I think they put it on, because on that card there was like 2 elite fights and I was one of them. So I think they just decided to like put it up because of that. Otherwise, if they cut mine out, it would have only just been one. And it's like, you know, so I think that's what they did. And then my brother saw and he told my mom, and then she found out, and she was obviously like really like upset that you know, I lied to her for so long. So she asked me to stop boxing, and then I stopped boxing. So like I remember telling this to Bettina when me and her met. She said, how many fights have you had? And then I remember like I told her I had like maybe half of what she had, and she was like, what?
Something at that moment.
It was something like really low, like maybe 35 or something like that. And Bettina was on like 75. And she said, how have you only had 35? And I said, oh, because, you know, my career has been like stop and start. And it's been stop and start because I've always been like afraid of, you know, what people would say and what my family would say, and if they found out. So like I would have like one fight and then I would stop for a really long time because I'd be scared, and then I'd go back. So it was like stop and start. And it's I think it's held me back in boxing, because I feel like if I just continued from, you know, when I started taking it seriously at 17, I know I started at 12, but like when I started taking it seriously at 17, like I could have been a lot further in my career than where I am now. So I think one important lesson is just to not, you know, give a crap what other people think, basically, and just do what makes you happy.
But when did it change for your mom from that she didn't like you to do boxing to that she's like now supporting you?
Yeah, so my husband, so we got married in 2016, and he, you know, spoke to my mom, and he told her like how amazing boxing is, like not just for like, you know, me or whatever. Like it wasn't like a selfish thing for him. It was more to show him like how positive it is, like sport, you know, for like small countries and some like developing countries, let's say, like sport is really important. It's like it's beneficial for the health, it's beneficial for the mind, and also like to show them that like if somebody like me, who's like from my background, who can make it, like anyone can do it, sort of thing. It gives like young girls who live in Africa, who you know, or developing countries, not just Africa, but like developing countries around the world, it shows them that they can do whatever they want, and like they can have big dreams, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's when it changed for my mom. So now she's like my biggest fan. She's like, oh, amazing.
And as I could hear, she's ready to go to OL and see you fight.
I hope so. Yeah, so she, you know, she's never seen me compete. So, you know, Bettina, before the box cup in Denmark, I don't know how to pronounce it. Hivedova, something. It was that box cup. It was that box cup where me and her spoke about, like, she rang me and she said, "Hey, how are you doing? How's the competition?" And that was the first time we've ever spoken on the phone about boxing. It was like a really nice feeling, I think.
Amazing.
Yeah. Hivedova.
Was it before or after the fight?
So I told her I was leaving, and then I think so she rang me on Saturday, and then she rang me again on Sunday. So it was like just before, and then she said, "Please ring me after. I want to know what happens." So I rang her before, and then I spoke to her after, which was really nice.
Okay, well, then she got some great energy there, I think.
Yeah, positive energy.
Okay. Actually, we also asked some our people, the people who follow Ladies United, if they had any kind of questions. So it might happen that sometimes we're gonna ask some of those questions during this. And
the first.
Yeah, I think there is one of them which says, when you meet challenges, how do you overcome them?
So I think, like, what's important with challenges is that you take it like step by step. So you don't, like, I don't know how to explain it, but you need to do it in like bits. Does that make sense? Like step by step. Like if it's like a big challenge, don't try and overcome it in one go. Say, okay, today I'm going to see if I can do this much of it, and tomorrow I'm going to see if I can do this much of it. So not only are you chipping away at the challenge, you're also building character for yourself as well. So you're, you know, being able to know how to deal with certain situations in the now and in the future.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Sorry, sometimes I just find it hard to, like, I'm better at writing than I am talking.
we got what you meant, I think.
So it's like when boxers in general, there's always a winner, there's always a loser. That's how it is.
Yeah.
And you also try to lose fights. Can you like describe one of your most, how is it like?
Failure?
Yeah, biggest failure. How did you overcome that? And yeah, why?
Biggest failure. So do you mean biggest failure in a fight?
Yeah, in boxing, like a fight you lost or something where you felt you are a failure in the fight. And how did you like overcome it? And if you can come with some tools or experience.
Yeah, so like, so I think back in 2011, I think it's 2011 or maybe it's 2010. I'm not sure, but I did like my first national championships in the UK, and I got to the final, and I lost in the final. But it was like the smallest of margins. It was so heartbreaking. This was like before, when it was, you know, the point scoring system, and, you know, before there was like youth category and junior category. It's like everyone was just mixed, everyone was just thrown in together. And I remember I was just like a scrawny little girl, and then I had this like fully developed woman, you know, competing against me, and it was like the smallest. And, you know, I was so heartbroken because I trained so hard, like weeks and weeks and weeks of dieting and exercising and sparring and just everything. And I remember I cried for like so long, and then I just refused to go to the gym. This time it wasn't because I was afraid of what my family thought. I just thought, I'm such a failure, you know? And I remember feeling sorry for myself for like weeks. But the way I overcame it was so stupid. But like, I thought to myself, you know, how are you just gonna give up when something gets hard? Like everything's gonna be hard. Life is hard. You've had a hard life. You came from a war country and you overcame that. Like you just gonna something this like this is it gonna let it beat you? And I just remember thinking, no, it shouldn't. And then from then I was just like, I'm gonna work even harder. I'm gonna think even smarter, and I'm gonna train even harder. But I remember that feeling, and I remember feeling that I'm never gonna let the feeling of losing define me, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think that's how I overcame it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. It's amazing.
I think that's these talks, because I think it's really important to talk with each other about these kind of things, because one simple thing can turn another fighter into like helping the other fighter to move to the next step, you know.
Yeah.
Like they look up to you and say, okay, she also had these struggles, she also had these things after a lost fight, like I'm not good enough and things. But she's, you know, she cried, she was angry, she was pissed for a while, but then, you know, she got back to it and kept going, because there was a bigger motivation behind it than just, you know, feeling sorry for ourselves and sitting there and being angry. Because I mean, no one is like, it's not like no one cares, but you are fighting for yourself, so then you also have to stand up for yourself and get back to the work.
Of course.
So I think it's really,
you said it really well.
I was actually one of our followers on she's a 13 years old girl from Somalia, and she wrote actually that she's hoping to be like you one day. And I think
that's
such
so
a nice
sweet. That's so lovely.
How is it to get these kind of, you know, I mean, there are many people, they're looking up to you, especially girls, I believe, young girls. Like at some point, like it's not like stressing, but you know, it's a responsibility at some point.
Yeah.
Can it like impact you somehow in your?
Like I never thought like I would be a role model. Like I have to admit, like when I first decided to compete for like Somalia, it was very like a selfish thing. I didn't do it for anything but for myself, just because I wanted to compete internationally, and that was the only reason I wanted, because I wanted to compete internationally. But then as I was doing it, I was receiving all these like amazing messages from like young girls and not even young girls, but like young boys, young girls, you know, men, women, just to say like how amazing what I was doing is. And then I remember like having complete 360 and thinking, like, this can't be about me anymore. This has got to be like, this is something bigger than me now. It's like, it's big. It's like, I've got a whole country. Is that the right word? On my back. I'm holding a country on my back, or something like that. So yeah, like at first it was purely selfish, but now it's something more. Now it's like doing it for a whole nation, and there's something unselfish about that, if I'm making any sense. I find words hard, I'm sorry.
One of Oshin, maybe you have heard her, I don't know, but she asked actually exactly a question regarding to this, like, how is it for you to represent Somalia, the country you had to flee from?
Yeah, so just basically that, like, it was purely selfish at the beginning, but now it's like an honor. Like every time I have a competition coming up, or any time I post something about boxing, like all the positive comments and messages and everything like positive that comes out of it, it makes all the struggles of competing, because you know it's really hard competing for Somalia. It's like a developing country. There's no funding. Everything I'm funding myself, like all my competitions, all my camps, everything. So like obviously there's times it's really hard and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, just forget it. But then you get like all these positive messages and comments, and it just makes it all worthwhile, I think. For sure. So that's what it's like competing for Somalia. There's sometimes you just want to strangle everyone, but then there's sometimes it's just a huge honor, for sure.
But I think it has been like that in the most countries when it's about women boxing. There was always a person that make the breakthrough in the country to make it more easy for girls to compete.
Yeah.
So I think just like Somalia is just some years behind that part.
No, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. The fact that a woman is changing the views of women in Somalia. That's an amazing thing. But it's not just like me. Like there's like all these female Somali politicians as well as there's all these amazing women around the world that are trying to change how the world sees Somalia, and hopefully the world sees Somalia in a positive light. I think now. I hope.
Yeah. You are doing a great job for that. So I think that's really awesome. Yeah, do you have questions? I do have a lot of questions. So yes, you inspire like I would say thousands of people. But who is your inspiration?
Yeah.
Do you have a role model? Do you have someone you say, okay, that person inspires me?
Both in boxing and private life.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to cut it in half. So obviously somebody who inspires me, this is such a cliche, but it's my mom.
Yeah.
Everyone says, oh my God, it's my mom. No, but really it's my mom. Like my mom she's been through so much. She's lost a child. She made sure like we fled the country safely. She brought us to the UK. She made sure we all got an education, and she's like, she's actually the best fighter that I've ever known. Like she's a better fighter than I will ever be, and so it's a no-brainer. It has to be my mom. But like a female role model that I look up to, there's obviously a lot. Like you have Serena Williams, and she's like changing how everyone sees black women in sport, and like she's unapologetically herself. So she doesn't care what people think about her. If she thinks something is wrong, she'll stand up for it. So obviously like her. And then, you have amazing female boxers like Lucia Riker, if you know who she is. I'm sorry if you don't. And like Katie Taylor. So Lucia Riker changed how people saw women boxing in the past. Then Katie Taylor, is showing how people view female boxing today.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. There's another question also from. We talked about your mom's reaction.
Yeah.
There was also a question about your father's reaction.
My father's reaction. My father's such a wonderful man. He's so peaceful. He doesn't like to like everyone always asks me like, are your parents together? And I say, yeah, of course they're together. Why'd you say that? They say, because you never talk about your father. I say, yeah, because I'm always complaining about my mother. But like, my father is like such a peaceful man. Like he doesn't like to get involved in anyone's like, business or problems. Like obviously like he'll get involved in your problem, like his children's problems, and make sure they're okay. But like, you will never see him in a street fight or something. Like he's not like one of those people. And like when he found out, he was very like neutral. And obviously like when my mum was shouting and saying, stop boxing, he was like, you need to leave Ramla alone. She's an adult and she has the mind to know what she's doing. And if she wants to do boxing, let her compete and do boxing. Like she's the one in the ring getting hurt. And, maybe one day she'll, feel it really hard and say, oh my God, I don't want to box. But you just let her like make up her own mind and do, make right and wrong decisions for herself. You shouldn't make the right and wrong decisions for her.
Yeah.
What did he say you fight?
Pardon? No.
Fighting.
So no one from my family has seen me box live apart from my younger brother, the youngest brother in the house. He's watched me fight a couple times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he even came to. I did the Golden Girls, I think, in 2011 when I fought Sarah Svensson. He came with me, so that was really nice. And like he was recording the fight, and you can hear him. Like every time I landed a punch, he'd be like, "Yes, yes." So yeah, he's quite cool.
So how is the future looks like for you? Because like you were at the African qualification for the Olympics.
Yeah, so it didn't go according to plan. I had most of the preliminary fight I had against Kenya, and then I won that unanimous. And then the fight after that, I lost to Tunisia, but like it was, how do you say, it was a horrible fight where it was she was throwing me to the floor. So like it was a lot of time she was throwing me to the floor. Like I think it was 4 times in the whole fight, and I was like, every time I was thrown to the floor, I kept looking at the ref saying, "Come on, ref, like deduct a point or something." But he wasn't deducting a point. And then like I think the 3rd time she threw me on the floor, she landed on top of me, and as she was getting up, she punched me in the chest. Yeah, at the same time. So then that time, like I was on the floor, and then I was screaming. I was like, it was because it was really painful being punched like, right here in the boobs. So it was really painful. So I said, "Oh my god!" And the ref, he did nothing. So it was quite weird. I don't understand how they scored it, because on the scorecards, I won round 1, I won round 2, but then they gave the decision to her. So I don't really understand it till now what happened. But that's when I got out of the competition. And then obviously I raised the complaint about the referee, and then he wasn't allowed to ref for the rest of the tournament. But obviously by that time it's like too late.
Oh, exactly.
And it was quite horrible, because when I raised the complaint, they were more vigilant about the girl. So then she had points deducted in the fights after mine. But yeah, it was just too late. The thing is, I felt really betrayed and cheated. You know, that like I meant to, the referee's job, he's there to look after the fighters and make sure they're safe at all times. And personally, I didn't feel safe. So yeah, I was really disappointed with that.
I understand. So now there was all this corona and whatever. Are you planning to take the world qualification in Paris when it opens up again?
Yeah, so what I want to do is, I personally don't think amateur boxing will go back to normal for a really long time. I don't think it will. So I want to try and maybe turn professional, see if I can get a few professional fights. And then when the world qualifiers come up again, do that. But like the thing is, I don't want to be out the ring for too long, because I just love to compete, you know. I don't really care if it's amateur, if it's, I don't care. So I just want to be in the ring, and if I can have a few fights before the qualifiers, that would be amazing. So yeah, for sure, I'm definitely gonna go to the world qualifiers and give that a try, because yeah, my dream has always been to go to the Olympics. So yeah, if and when that comes up, I will definitely go to it. Yeah, definitely.
Nice. So I think we soon have to like close down because it's only for 1 hour.
Yeah, Instagram shuts you off.
But I think, you know, I don't know. Are you busy?
Well, not really, but I have to do something at 8:30.
We have, it's if it closed down, we come back for 15 minutes because there's some other like interesting things we could maybe talk about.
Yeah, of course. No, because every week I have a ladies' quiz night with my friends, and today, I'm the quiz master today. So so
that's a big responsibility there.
Yeah, so before this, I was sitting down writing all the questions. I was making some hard and some easy, and so I'm just gonna if we can just like 10 more minutes or something, because then I have to go and prepare the answers and make sure everything's good, because I want to be the best quiz master. Last week my friend, she was really good, so I want to beat her.
The competition comes in, like
there's like a whole round of like boxing, and like there'll be questions like I'm gonna describe a boxer to them, and they have to guess who the boxer is, and things like that. So yeah, it's quite cool.
Is it like everybody in your family is competitive like you?
Oh, for sure. So like we all want to be the best in what we're doing. So like my brother, he's a doctor, but like he doesn't want to end it there. He wants to like go into like a specialist, like he wants to be a surgeon but be like specialist. And then like my sister, she's a nurse, but like it doesn't end there for her. She's a specialist in what's it called? When you get allergic reactions.
Yeah.
She's an allergy nurse specialist. That's it.
Okay.
And like my other sister, so my brother, he's like a strength and conditioning coach, but he doesn't want to end it there. He had to open his own business. So like, yeah, we're all like really competitive. We all want to be like the best, the best versions of who we can be.
So what is we were actually talking about, do you have an education, and what is it?
So I went to university and I did a law degree. So
yeah.
Did you read that, Kathleen?
I did my homework. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so I did law, and then I worked in the city for like 6 months, and then I just realized that I hated law and it's not something that I wanted to do, so I quit.
Yeah. What would you do if it's not boxing? I mean, you say law is not something maybe you would do, but what other?
No, but like I love working with the human body. I couldn't be like a PT because I find sometimes that some people just annoy me. So like you must get this all the time, Bettina. So you tell somebody throw this, and then they're just not listening to you. That would just like get me so mad. So I wouldn't. Yeah. I would like maybe do something like physiotherapy, or just working with the human, like the human body has always fascinated me, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so something along those lines, if I wasn't boxing. But did you mean, would I do another sport, did you mean?
No, actually, I was thinking about like work, like not sport, but what would you do? Like another?
So I would do something like that, like physiotherapy, get into like the body and things like that, for sure.
Oh, amazing. I also like could see that you are really active also outside of the ring, and you are ambassador for different kind of projects, and you are also on the how's it called, like a front page magazine, like a Vogue magazine and things. And what I really like is that I can see that you are really trying to giving back also to communities and people. Would you tell about a little bit the activities you are doing outside of the ring?
Of course, like it's really important. I find that when you have a platform, and then when you have a bit of a profile, people look at you and they look up to you, and if they see that you're giving back, then more people will want to give back, I think. So outside of boxing, I teach ladies. So it's a volunteering once a week. So I teach ladies like mostly like like we call each other sisters. So girls who are like very religious, I teach them once a week how to box. And obviously now because of the lockdown, we're doing it by Zoom. So it's a bit easier now because, you know, sometimes like people annoy you and they're not getting it right and you're just like, oh. But when you're doing it by Zoom, you can just like pretend that you don't see them. Yeah, pretend like you don't see them. But yeah, so I'm doing that once a week. And then I'm an ambassador for UNICEF. Last year they took me to Jordan to visit the refugee camps in Zaatari and Askari, I think. And it's tough, man. Like going to those camps is really hard, especially like we were there in December. It wasn't even that cold, but like when you go into some of the houses, it's really heartbreaking to see. And like obviously, like going and seeing those camps like puts into perspective how easy a life you have, and it just makes you want to, you know, try and do more and try and do whatever you can. I think it's yeah. So like I was saying earlier, like when you have a platform and when you have a bit of a profile, like try and do as much as you can. I know some people like they've ignored me. Like I've messaged them, say, hey, can you help me with this to do with this charity or something, and they just ignore me. And it's like, oh, come on, like it's gonna take you 10 minutes, you know. So, you know, it's not always about giving money. Sometimes it's just about raising awareness. So exactly. Try and raise as much awareness as possible. For sure. Yeah.
Are there any upcoming activities in the future?
Well, no, I was meant to go to Sudan with UNICEF, but that's obviously been put on hold because of the flight restrictions. We were going to be like camps about women who, you know, suffer from like FGM. Do you know what that is? Like,
no. FGM?
Female genital mutilation.
Okay, yeah.
That stuff. So we were going to go to like camps like that in Sudan, but that's been put on hold. I think in a few months' time, I'm going to like I don't know if it's been out, if I can say it, but I'll just say it anyways because I don't care. But like in a couple of months' time, I'm doing like an online fundraiser for UNICEF where I'm going to challenge some people on the Xbox for a game like Fight Night or something, and it's going to be hard because I'm going to be there for like 4 or 5 hours and people just come in when they want. So I'm not that good, so you
have time to prepare.
I've got time to prepare. Yeah, so I think it was going to set to be World Refugee Day, which is on 20th of June, but I think they're pushing it back a bit more. But it's definitely something is definitely happening, which is great. But for now, I think those are the only projects that I know. Yeah, so I think the lockdown has just really stopped a lot of things that are happening, I think. Yeah, because the other day I even had to do like what's it called, like an isolation photo shoot, and like they asked me to do my own hair and makeup and it was terrible, I swear to God. Okay. I think I know just to put mascara on and that's it. But then like I had to go on YouTube and then I had to look at, how you do this is where you apply. It took me 2 hours.
We're gonna be locked out in like 5 seconds, so we're just gonna go up again just for 5 minutes. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Cecilia is back. Ramla is back. Good. Let's see.
Let's go just like.
She has to be ready for the competition.
So we just gonna like end it like maximum 5 minutes, and then we're out.
Awesome. I can't remember what I was saying.
You were doing.
Lockdown photo shoot. So they had to come and everybody had to be like standing back, like everything was so far away, and they said, we're really sorry, you're gonna have to, because usually when you go on like a photo shoot, somebody does your hair and somebody does your makeup, and then they said, we're really sorry, you're gonna have to do your own makeup and your own hair. And I thought, oh my god. Okay, so I sat in front of YouTube, I was watching the tutorials. It took me so long. I don't know how girls do it. Like, you know, you go on Instagram and then they have all of this like
that's a big, you should just ask Richard. Yeah.
Well, Richard did my hair and I did my makeup.
Okay, you're gonna have like
so where is the photo shoot laying? Because I would like to see how it ended up.
So when it comes out, because it was only like recently when the restrictions were, so in the UK the restrictions have been a little bit like what's the word, like lifted a little bit, like it's not as like hard as before, like you have to stay in, now you're allowed to go out a little bit. So it's when the restrictions got lifted a bit. There was a photo shoot in isolation, and hopefully it comes out in the next couple of weeks, and then I'll have to share it with you. I told them, I said, I'm really sorry, can you just do as much as you can with the editing and the airbrushing?
You want this like really like fast, and then we can have
I have some fast questions, and it's just you have to pick one of them. Yes.
Okay.
With this one, day or night?
Night.
Cold or warm?
Warm.
Singing or dancing?
Dancing.
Introvert or extrovert?
I don't know what any of those words mean. I'm so sorry.
Okay, next, meat or vegetarian?
Vegetarian.
10 minutes late or 20 minutes early?
10 minutes late.
Okay, do you rather want to go in and see the future or go back to your past
and change something?
Is it just my past, or I can go back into the past, like in the 1800s or something?
Yeah.
Oh, the past then, the past.
Okay. Would you rather could teleport yourself other places or read minds?
Read minds.
So
whose mind would you read first?
Yeah.
Richard's. What is he really thinking?
Right?
What is he really thinking?
Yeah.
Oh, last one.
So the last final question. Let's see which support you get here. Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Yeah.
You know what? Thank you.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
He has all the cool gadgets. He's rich and he has all the cool gadgets, and he's
It doesn't matter.
You are my favorite now. You can always come here and live here if, when you read Richard's mind, you're not happy. You can come here.
Yeah. Come to Denmark and stay with you guys. I would like for you to cook for me, because every night when you put your food on Instagram, I'm always like,
okay, we have to close down because you also have to leave and get ready for winning competition. I'm thinking, is there any like a final message you would like to share with the people?
Yeah. Of course. So like, so what I was just saying earlier is like, don't be afraid to be yourself. This is such a cliche. I know. I'm sorry, guys, but don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't let what other people think stop you from doing what you want to do. Remember, you only have one life, so live it well.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure to have you here.
I'm so honored. I'm the first one.
And of course we recorded this and we will also share it, but
also I was telling Bettina I'm wearing
What? Exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Support. Yes.
Exactly. And I just want to say, like, fast, June month is like Pride month.
Yeah.
And it's of course something we in Ladies United BC supports. So
Yeah.
we will make a campaign for this month, and you said yes to be a part of this. So
100%, yes, 100%.
a lot of people think it's only about LGBT, but it's also discrimination and racism. It's
unity for everyone. It's like
love unites, as we say.
So that is what's coming up in June, and Ramla, thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
I want to have you in Denmark again.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
And remember, you have to practice baking and yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for watching. Bye bye.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for taking part in our very first Ladies United boxing chat with Ramla Ali. And next week,
I really hope you enjoyed it. You enjoyed it a lot, actually. But you are more than welcome to follow us and follow our activities. We have all kind of platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube, and also, of course, our webpage. We will share our videos with Ramla on our YouTube, so you can see it if you couldn't join in the beginning. And of course, we are back here next week. Next week, in a week, Sunday, we continue our Ladies United boxing chat, and we invited a really nice, another special guest, a friend of ours from Belgium, who actually fought Katie Taylor back in 2014, and she tried both professional and also the amateur boxing, women boxing. So I think she has some really nice experience and knowledge to share with us. So we are really looking forward to have her here. We're not gonna tell her name. We're gonna give some hints during the coming week. So. We really hope that you are joining us next week. Thank you so much for joining us today. We know some of you, and it's really nice, and it was really nice to see you. There were also some others we have never met before and we have never seen before. Thank you so much for joining us and supporting this little project we are doing for women boxing. We wish you all the best, and have a nice evening. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye.